Hey, what's up guys? Back with another post Guild War video. It's only about a week late, but better late than never. This time around is not going to be anything crazy since I didn't really go that hard on GW. If anything, this is probably my worst performance in a while. But then again, this is just more of like a personal diary for me where I can keep track of my progression and maybe rant a little bit about GW. First things first, as you can see, I practically farmed about 20k regular meat chunks, or I don't even know what it's called anymore. So realistically, I only burned about 13k of the 20k chunks I had. That gave me about 2k clumps, I believe, malicious clumps, and I only burned about 800 of those. Most of the times, I usually burn all of my meat, or at least try to. So this is already indicative of a pretty bad experience on my end. Now looking at the actual event page, didn't get a sunstone again. It's been like 20 years, never gotten a sunstone. And if you look at my total honors, I only got 5 bill, which is pretty low. Considering last GW I got about 6. We ended up losing 3 out of the 4 matches, so as a crew, this is also pretty bad. I think this is just one of our worst GW runs in a while. So it wasn't just me, thank God. Total wise, I was actually 22, which is kind of gross. I try to make page 1 every GW, and I think I've been page 1 for the most part, like a majority of the time I was in this crew. And I think this is the very first time on the 3rd page. Yeah, I did pretty bad. I mean, it was enough to get the skin, so that was what I was going for at the bare minimum. So here's my EX Plus setup. It's not anything crazy. I think a lot of people are using this setup or something very similar to it. Here are the characters. I don't think the backline really mattered. I guess Sandalphon helps, but the goal is everyone TAs, you debuff, and then you skill nuke. It is 0 button, 0 chain. Viking, of course. Viking's probably one of the most premium OTK class. I think I said that last video. So yeah, Viking was really good. Grid is very, very free to play besides the uni harps. But I mean, if you are playing this game semi-seriously, your goal is to get 2 uni harps at some point. And yeah, I think the keys, if anything, one of the keys was probably auto cap, and yeah, everything else should be relative. Wait, what was Opus? I think Opus was uh falsehood, so the one that gives bonus damage. Yeah, the summons, I think you really do need Metatron. Zeus, I don't think you really need Zeus. Pretty straightforward EX plus. Now for 90, I was trying to farm some celestial drops, so I built a setup around that. So this is definitely not what people normally use. This was I believe 1 2 3 4, I think it was a 5 chain setup, 0 button 5 chain. I used Mana Diver with the Agostia Manichura, and I had a Dama Knife. This is a free Dama Knife I got during one of the anniversaries. I can inflict bounty on Ogi. Mary also inflicts bounty, so just get as much drop rate as I can. This was also Kaguya X, I believe, Huanglong. Honestly, the keys didn't really matter. It was kind of overkill. Probably next light GW rolls around, I would make a much quicker setup. Definitely less lockout, because this had a ton of lockout, but I got my drops, so that's all that matters. So for Nightmare 100, this is pretty much similar to last year. I really didn't change much besides like the main hand. I just replaced the main hand, which was the Cosmo Dagger before, with the EXO, and I just put that into the grid. And frontline, Halloween Mugen, Nehan, kind of a staple together. And then quick called Yatima to summon Death and Dremalak for their bonus damage. Kill near, Geisenberger comes out, and you basically kill the boss in 3 minutes. Not 3 minutes, 3 turns. And that was about 43 seconds. Not bad. I think that was slightly worse than like Water GW for me. Manichura, I don't have Ouroboros, so I used the Fa one, which is better than Levy, and it ended up working out. Nothing crazy. 150 though. Slight change. I mean, artifacts did play a little bit, just for that little bit of damage because of the higher defense on the boss. And the grid changed a little bit. So I got rid of the stand mod to put enmity, and then since I got rid of the stand mod, I replaced the gun for the spear for the stand mod. And the reason why was because post 50 or like after turn 2, like everyone's like 1 HP, right? So the enmity really helped push the damage a bit. And in backline, Yo came in to kind of make sure you don't get 1%ed because she has guaranteed TA, and she also has like a attack boost, or yeah, she has attack boost depending on how many tender ties she has, which she starts at 6. So, and yeah, other than that, this was also 43 seconds. So, oh my god, why did they keep going back to 100? This was definitely better than water. Water took about maybe a minute full auto because I had to press a couple more buttons. But this one, buttons didn't really change. It was just the grid and then a little bit of artifact. Honestly, 200 didn't really matter. This setup is a placeholder. By the time I was able to grind or logged in, oh god, my throat. 250 was already out. So I full autoed my 200 and just never touched it again. 250 though. Now we're talking. This was the setup I ended up using. I actually didn't really tweak too much. Once I found a setup that worked, I really just kind of just went all in on it because I just didn't really have time to figure out a setup or really bother. So, oh my god, my throat, I'm dying, guys. So as the class, you can tell I was using Boogeyman, and these were the skills I was using. Blood Oath. I know there's another skill that gives Unchallenged, but this particular setup, I had to use Blood Oath to make it consistent. And then I ran probably the most important skill is this one, where you just get Dispel basically every time they special attack. And then Rain of Arrows for the attack down for survivability. Also, Boogeyman is clutch. I honestly, when Boogeyman was released, I clowned on it because I don't know, it just felt very underwhelming. And you know what? It proved me wrong. I used this class pretty much all of days 3 and 4. I wanted to try Paladin, but honestly, that probably would have been like a 30-minute run. So we ran Chicken, Rat, and Illnot. Super duper duper hyper limited team, which I know that sucks. I think that this is why this is one of the worst GWs, because the boss is bad. I did not expect the boss to be like this bad, but I feel like it was worse than water, right? And the only way to actually like get decent clears is if you had the right characters, and like Light got some very limited characters, and especially Rat that just came out, and like I don't know, the boss difficulty compared to the characters you need, I think was worse than last GW. Like last GW was bad, but like you had some characters that were usable, right? Or rather, you had a lot more characters that were usable. This time around, though, your options were a lot more limited, as in gotcha limited characters. Backline was also important because Chicken was there for her debuff, and you would want her to die so you could bring in Lucio, and then Gaizen. To be honest, I don't even know if his passive even mattered. I wasn't really paying attention, so this could have been something else. I don't know, but Lucio was the most important. So, and then we look at the grid. Look how bad this grid is, guys. I think The keys were all pretty much the same. Stamina, yeah. And I used the Xeno gun. I know the Celestial bow was pretty good. It has a really good Ogi. The only reason why I didn't use it was because I was honestly too lazy to finish uncapping it. So we just end up using the gun Celestial instead because I mean it still works with MC and Ilnot, and you have a lot of guns in grid. So and the Xeno gun is actually not bad. It's I got a really nice AX skills on it, and if you look at the Ogi, it gives everyone mirror image, clears a debuff, which is sometimes relevant, but I think the most important thing is that like you get this flare effect, and basically if MC doesn't take damage or dodges, it just does a nuke. So it's just more damage, and then the passive is more skill damage, which is like this whole setup is basically built around skill damage. So that one's really good. And originally, honestly, what went through the most changes in this setup was the grid. Originally I was using like one staff, or what the heck is this? Spear. Yeah, I was only using one of these spears, and then these two were actually Hecate bows. Because if you look at the bows, let's see. Going in, I was already prepared to use them too. Because I don't have any Mark II like defense awakening Revan weapons, so I was like, I was probably gonna be using some of these. So they give defense HP, and they also supplement based on your HP. So I thought they were pretty good, and actually they did perform pretty well. It's just the damage was lacking because this particular setup, one of the main issues was that you wanted to push through the first HP trigger while Rat's buff was up. That was the main issue, because if you didn't, if it ran out, you'd eat like some debuffs, and that can really mess up your run. So that's what I basically built this setup around, is just, all right, just get through the first HP trigger with her buff, because it basically grants you immunity to debuffs. And then from that point on, it's pretty much smooth sailing. So I got rid of the Hecate bows just because it wasn't consistent enough. It was good defensively, but it didn't really provide a lot of damage. So I just ended up going back to uni harps. I think I had like a third gun as well instead of this bow, or like a Lumi sword or something. Not bow, spear. So I ended up just replacing that, put another one of this, and it honestly just ended up working fine. But the reason I was running Blood Oaths was because it guaranteed more damage and TA, and also lowered Chicken's defense. So it made sure that she would die and Lucio could come out. Now you could run the artifact as well, which I also did. Luckily I re-rolled like one of the artifacts, and he gave her like the defense cut. But honestly, that's my one complaint about artifacts right now, is because we're gonna start to see this pattern where artifacts will make a difference between certain runs and certain setups, because of like stuff like this, where like you want certain characters to die, or you need to push certain damage percentages. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad. I mean, right now it wasn't really that bad, but I can definitely see it getting out of hand, especially if they start like making content around artifacts. And that's the issue, is like, is how will they approach artifacts? Will they make content and expect you to have these artifacts for it, or will they just kind of ignore it, and artifacts are just there to help supplement the content, right? And that's what I hope they do, is just kind of just like, yeah, artifacts are there, but they're just more so win more, rather than, all right, you need these for certain things to work. So right now it's not that bad, but I do know that some people had issues with killing off Chicken because they couldn't get the right artifact skills on her, which sucks. Um, and also Chicken too. I did use her third. So basically, at the start of battle, I mean it's full auto, right? Uh, put Blood Oath on Chicken, and then Chicken puts her buff on MC, and then you just go from there. And the runs were about 15 minutes. I might have a screenshot. It was about 20 ish. The runs basically depends on how quick Chicken can die. The sooner she dies, the faster the runs, obviously, because then Lucio can come in and just start shredding the boss. And his passive is actually very important because post 50, you're gonna eat a lot of damage. So him being able to full restore your whole party is really nice because honestly the one that has the highest chance of dying is Rat, because you have the Celestial. MC and Ilnot doesn't really die. Lucio's pretty thick himself, and so Rat had the highest issue of like surviving, even though like everyone's pretty much on defense. I give her all HP, and yeah. Oh, I got lucky with her rings too. I rolled a sub 10. But yeah, I mean, I got lucky with Rat in general. I honestly probably would have struggled more if I didn't get her. So I didn't record any pulls because, I mean, I wasn't really intending to pull on her banner. But right before GW, when her banner came out, I was like, you know what? Let me just throw a 10 pull in. If I get her or Siete, I'd be happy because I do like them both. And then I ended up getting her in 110 pull, and that pretty much saved my GW, even though I did even go hard. But honestly, having her is really nice. She's broken, not gonna lie. Freaking dispels, mad nukes, debuff immunity, mitigation. Does she heal? Oh yeah, she heals too. Dude, she is disgusting. And then her just combined with Chicken is just so much dispels. And then MC with Boogeyman, oh, it's really nice. I really like this setup and just how well it all played together. And it's really nice. I also, anytime I get to use this skin, I will always use it. I really like this skin. I don't know, it just it has like this like vintage nostalgic vibe to it. I don't know. It's the scarf, really. The scarf, the hat. I don't know. I really like it. But yeah, 250 was not bad as long as you had the characters. But the characters, man, good luck. Good luck to everyone out there. Speaking of characters, I did finish Song. I finished Song and Funf. Didn't end up using them because I think this just particular setup didn't really need them. I'm pretty sure they were used a lot. But also Primal too. I think Song was much better for Primal grids, and Funf was good for both because yeah, Song is just helps push damage, but like if you didn't have the Primal grid, or like the issue with Magna was it doesn't have a lot of skill damage like supplement or anything, so like it's hard to kind of push damage using like a skill based setup. And Song, I think you really want that. You want to really push skill damage. But I don't even know if that even makes sense. But yeah, I just didn't think she'd work out in this particular setup. And pretty much these two. I didn't really try any other characters, I don't think. I don't think anything was this particular setup. I don't think there was anything replaceable. I did think about using Vera, but again, that's more Ogi centric. Honestly, I think that's it. Oh yeah, quick summon Lucio or Lucifer, and then I had Bahamut to reduce the cooldown because you basically get throughout the entire run. All right, I'm using like literally quick math. I don't know anything. I'm assuming with Bahamut you get like one additional use of Lucifer. Everything else is pretty much self-explanatory. Belial is probably replaceable, but again, I was trying to push through the first HP trigger, so Belial helps with that. Yeah, you realistically have enough HP with the plus marks and everything to survive. And I think that's pretty much it. Pretty underwhelming performance wise for me, but when it came to the actual setups and like figuring out certain things, I think this was actually a really good GW. And I think if I had the time, I would have done much better. But honestly, I'm okay with the results. I wasn't really feeling that great this GW coming around, so it is what it is. Hopefully by next GW I'll be more prepared. This particular post GW video is more unorganized. Honestly, I wasn't really prepared for anything, so I don't have anything ready. So hopefully next one is a lot more organized and entertaining. But other than that, I hope you guys had a good Guild War, and I hope to see you guys during the next one. Peace.